Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about how you are going to like Ms. Marvel, whether you want to or not.
That's right.
They are going to force you to like Ms. Marvel. She is a relatively new character in the Marvel Universe, and they brought her front and center in the new Avengers game, and they keep pushing her on cartoons, and yet her comic books keep getting canceled. But you're going to like her.
Right, like all women.
You're going to like her. You're going to like her because she's Sana Amanat's OC. Sana Amanat at Marvel. And, you better watch out, Brie Larson, because Ms. Marvel's coming.
Yeah, and you kept going on about how we needed more women and we needed more women, of color and things, and you were going to help them, come in. Well, great. Now they're coming in, and they might be coming for Carol Danvers, too, so,
Maybe she will replace Carol Danvers. Who knows? They are talking Ms. Marvel TV series for Disney+. Now, I got to tell you, before we get into this, Squeaking and I debated about whether or not we were... Man, she looks really creepy there. Debated about whether or not to get the Avengers game. And I don't know how her powers are going to work in live action, because her giant fists look ridiculous when they're photorealistic.
Is that what her only power is?
No, she's got some other powers. I read the first... It's been years. I read the first trade paperback, the first couple issues. Now, I'll be honest. I actually thought the first story arc was pretty decent. I thought the art was good. I thought she was an interesting character. But since that time, they have gone out of their way to make sure that everybody knows who Ms. Marvel is. Her and Captain Marvel have to become a household name, because I have to wonder if they're not going to flip the script and eventually be like, oh, the Marvel Universe was named after the Marvel ladies.
That's right.
All the ladies of Marvel. That's why they're in charge. And this is, definitely Sana Amanat's creation, Captain Marvel. And we've said before that my understanding is Sana Amanat actually calls the shots over at Marvel.
It's like she doesn't do anything. No, that's not what I'm hearing.
That is not what I've heard either. I've heard that she actually is pretty involved, or at least has the ear of the right people over there at Marvel, that this is part of the reason why they will not let Kamala Khan just kind of, succeed or fail, I guess, on her own. They're going to keep pushing her, despite the fact that her books have been canceled several times. The first one lasted 19 issues. First take at Ms. Marvel, and then she came back again. She had 38 issues, and then now she's up to 16 issues. 2019 to 2020, I guess. She was in an issue of Team Up, and of course, they put her in the cartoons.
They keep canceling because they don't do well, but they won't let it die. Like, you have to like this. We're going to make sure you like it because we're banking on it.
Pretty much. And that's what happens with Carol Danvers, too. They keep bringing her back, Captain Marvel back, and people just don't like the character, and they bring her back. She runs a year or two, and then they cancel it again, and she's had more cancellations. I think Captain Marvel's had more cancellations than any other Marvel title recently.
So do they address the fact that if those are her hands, even if they get big, that they probably would still get things like, they still would be like skin, so you'd still get cut, you still get like buildings stuck in like a splinter?
I think they're invincible. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've read Ms. Marvel, but in the game it looks very strange to have a photorealistic girl have giant hands the size of small SUVs.
It's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
But then again, other superpowers probably look really weird too. So
that is true. So I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this in live action. But yeah, they put her front and center in the new Avengers game. That is not getting. it's not really getting rave reviews.
Actually, you guys said about it, but then Squeaky looked at it and he's like, eh.
Yeah, I was going to buy it. We're going to play it on the gaming channel. We do have a Clownfish TV gaming channel, by the way. I was going to play it on Clownfish TV Gaming. He's like, I have no interest in this game. So I'm like, okay. But yeah, again, it's like, we got to put her in with the Avengers to make sure that she...
Yeah, but she's like a fangirl. That's kind of part of her point, I guess, her charm. But she's like kind of annoying. I was like, why?
She is, I think, the audience stand-in, or let me put it to you this way. She is the intended audience, the audience that Sana Amanat wants to cultivate with all the weird cooking shows and fashion stuff.
The ones that don't get much hits.
Yeah, the videos on the Marvel YouTube channel that don't get much hits. She is the target audience, the fangirl, and I think that is part of the reason they kind of keep pushing her. Like, come on, girl power, buy our stuff, girls, buy our lifestyle brand, buy our, whatever.
Well, that's not going to work for a couple reasons. One, her outfit's not tight enough. for cosplayers, and you know, they're going to want to take it and change it in ways that wouldn't fit the character.
Yeah, that is true. So this is, you saw this on CBR today. And Marvel's Avengers, Kamala Khan is the beacon of hope we need in 2020.
I wouldn't have used the word beacon, because it comes across as, if you look at it quickly, you could read it as Kamala Khan is the bacon of hope we need, and that would not be appropriate.
That would not be appropriate.
But at first, when I saw the headline, that's what I thought it said. I was like, that doesn't, what? That's not okay. No. And then I'm like, oh, beacon. Okay.
So in the Avengers, Kamala Khan approaches the world with a level of enthusiasm and positivity that's rare to find in modern gaming. Yeah, like Last of Us 2.
Right, there's so much positivity.
That
there
was a positive.
Well, as I said, it's rare to find such positivity, but it's like annoying positivity.
Yeah, she actually, I mean, yeah, it
was annoying in the commercial. I was like, oh, someone's going to smack her.
Yeah. I think it was almost like, what, Spider-Man's tied up, so let's put Kamala Khan.
Yeah, it was. It was like level of Spider-Man, but I think Spider-Man wasn't even as annoying.
No. And Spider-Man for PS4 is...
But he could be.
He could be. Spider-Man PS4 is so far probably the best superhero game that's ever been made. Squid King wanted that on day one. We played that. It's awesome. Not so much for Avengers. So the newly released Avengers sees the iconic team reunited by a relatively new addition to Marvel's long history, Kamala Khan, also known as Ms. Marvel, who was only introduced in 2013.
So wait, so Salma Amina, it's her OC. It was introduced on her watch, and they actually named it Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, well, so Carol Danvers was the original Ms. Marvel, and then she got her ass knocked into a coma. Yeah, I do think that they are going to angle for the Marvel girls to be the reason that's the Marvel. I'm waiting for that, because they already in Captain Marvel made sure that the Avengers were named after Captain Marvel, and the next thing you know, they'll break the fourth wall and be like, we're living in the Marvel age right now because of Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel and all the Marvels.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Incrediboy on The Incredibles. Go home, buddy. You know, that's what it reminds me of. She names herself Ms. Marvel because of Captain Marvel and all that. And like he was Incrediboy.
Yeah.
After, Mr. Incredible.
You know what would be really creepy? If they had, because, Spider-Man is a teenager again. He wasn't when I was a kid. He actually was in his early 20s. But he's a teenager again, and he's Spider-Man. And they should actually have Spider-Boy, and he's like a 45-year-old stalker. With an ill-fitting suit. Go home, Spider-Boy. Go home.
This is what it reminds me of.
I'm your biggest fan.
It reminds me of The Incredibles.
Yeah,
that's what it reminds me of. It's just, that's what it reminds me of.
Disney magic.
Buddy.
Disney magic. While she may not have the decades of history that her more famous teammates do, Kamala's unending enthusiasm and optimism allow her to hold her own even when sharing the screen with Iron Man and Hulk. They talk about her role in the game, which is major. She's a major character in the game. What immediately stands out about Kamala is the unique and refreshing perspective she brings to what's happening around her. From the beginning of the game, she approaches the world with joy, even charming the Avengers when she comes across them before A-Day. This sounds very Mary Sue-ish. Mm-hmm. Everything's coming up Kamala. Everything is coming up Kamala. Her positive attitude endures. How come these news outlets don't keep the positive attitude? Remember when comics used to be fun?
Well, if you're supposed to be adorable and uplifting and everybody loves you if you're positive, then what? Maybe that's why they're failing.
Yeah.
That might be why they're failing.
Oh, wow. They're actually calling out The Last of Us Part 2. They said, take, for example, Last of Us Part 2, another one of this year's major games and easily one of the darkest ever made. Well, the game itself has been called a masterful work. The dark and edgy tone in combination with lots and lots of violence makes it hard for many to play. And they're talking about how 2020 has been packed with stressful and depressing events. Under these circumstances, a character like Kamala Khan is all the more appealing. Like many other superhero stories these days, Marvel's Avengers is dark. Yeah, so I'm
bored just talking about this.
Yeah, so this is the thing though. I'm seeing a lot of stories about Kamala Khan lately, and it is because she's in the Avengers game, but they won't let her not be popular.
Yeah, it's like Captain Marvel. Doesn't matter what people really think. They'll do anything in their power to make sure they have record-breaking whatever so they can say that it's popular.
Right, and I think it comes down to Sana Amanat. Now, what would be very interesting to see is if Sana was no longer with the company, would they still keep pushing Ms. Marvel?
Probably not.
Because it might be a case of like, well, she's gone. That was her. And this has happened before. We've had, characters that were like Chris Claremont's or other creators, kind of like their characters.
Right.
And once they got gone or once they were off the book or out of the company or whatever, then they kind of like quietly sunset those characters.
But were they popular?
Some of them were, yeah.
So that's surprising. If it was popular, then don't sunset it. But if it's not popular, then why keep it?
Well, the thing with, with Ms. Marvel, this is what they claim. And we don't know for sure. They claim that Ms. Marvel is selling millions and millions of copies in Scholastic book fairs.
Okay, let me tell you a few things about Scholastic book fairs. Because I used to run them. Basically,
yes, you did.
You're given what you're only allowed to, then they have like the book fairs, you sell what they give you. And the book orders, they will do things like give you really good deals, like books for $1, books for $2.99 to try to sell those copies of those books. When you're pushing it to schools and you make it the featured item on the flyer, and you're pushing it to schools that, here's a sale on this book, and that's where all these kids are getting to choose from. Even though there's lots more to choose from if you go to the website, people are going to just choose it because, I'm buying her brother Spider-Man. I'll buy her this too, so she doesn't feel left out. Yeah. And that's how it is. And when you get the book fair books, you get what they give you. And if they're pushing that, they'll even have banners and stuff for certain books. That's what they're pushing. That's what you're at the push at the book fair. So it's not necessarily even, it might be selling all those copies. I don't think it's to the tune of millions, but they're going to be selling because that's what they're pushing. It's like when you only have like 3 shows to watch, but on TV, that's what kids are going to want because that's all they know.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they're talking about Squirrel Girl and all these. I guess I don't know what you would call these books. I guess the new wave Marvel books, but and a lot of them have been canceled since then. But Squirrel Girl and Gwenpool. And
Gwenpool's way more, I think, famous than Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, and Gwenpool got canceled too. I think it's hard to tell what's canceled, but I think even the New Warriors. I think it was we talk about that, and I think it was a double edged. Like it was a troll. I think on one level. And it was also designed for like Scholastic book fairs and that kind of stuff. And yeah, you're right. I mean, parents will just pick up whatever based on the cover. They'll be like, yeah, it's
or whatever they're being promoted.
Yeah,
they'll make flashy around it, put little, oh, look, brand new, exciting, whatever, on sale. And that's what parents are going to do.
New York Times bestseller by New York Times best-selling author, which actually doesn't take a lot of work, as I understand it, especially when you're talking about comic books, because for the longest time, graphic novels were on their own, as Neil Gaiman called it, they were at the kiddie table. So the competition was not nearly as fierce. So you weren't going up against all the other books, you were just competing against other comic books.
Right, well, that's changed, and that's why they're whining.
That's why they're whining, because now it's like,
you have to be the #1 bestseller among everything.
They took our special privilege away. But yeah, I don't know. It's very weird to see.
It's pros privilege.
Pros privilege. This is old school Ms. This is Carol Danvers when she had boobs.
Oh, see, now that whole outfit's problematic.
That is problematic. It is. And then she got knocked on her ass. That's what she looked when I was a kid. This is what I was. Well, this is way before my time, but this is what I was used to when I was a kid.
Well, I can see why kids picked that up.
Yeah, because it was like, yeah, see, she's got the scarf around her waist instead of around her neck. And yeah, but she was a good character back then. And then she came back and it was like Bizarro Carol. She's not the same. And I think they blew her up or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, they're going to keep pushing Ms. Marvel. And you watch. And we talked about this before. I honestly think they're going to bring Monica Rambeau in as Brie Larson's replacement. They're introducing her in Vision, the Scarlet Witch.
Well, I want to point that out, that a lot of people that were upset about Captain Marvel brought that up. Like, especially with the comments that were made by a certain actress. A lot of people brought that up. They said, well, Ms. Marvel, or Captain Marvel was actually Monica Rambeau, and she wasn't white. And why aren't they going with her? And people brought that up then, and everybody ignored it. And now they're all now that the racism is the soup du jour. They're all like, well, that's a good point that we just made that no one ever made before now.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We have another video coming up talking about John Boyega and how the media is flipping the narrative there, too, after years and years and years of attacking Star Wars fans.
And people like us saying that what they're saying now, don't you know that now all us people, like the same with the Monica Rambeau, all the haters that are racist because they don't want Monica Rambeau, and we're like, we were actually saying that you should make it Monica Rambeau like before Captain Marvel came out. Nuh-uh, you did not. We just invented this idea. Racist.
That's exactly what they're gonna do. That's exactly. I know what's gonna happen. They'll Brie Larson will step down or something.
Well, she has to after the big deal she made about how they need more women, diverse women in there.
Or Disney will sideline her. They'll launch the Ms. Marvel show, and Ms. Marvel will be popular because on Disney Plus, and she's got a series and all this. Or even if she's not popular, they will say that she's popular, and they'll push out Brie Larson, and then next thing you know, it'll be like, there's a woman in color using the Captain Marvel name now, and the fanboys are angry.
Actually, most fanboys would probably be like, yes, that's what we wanted to begin with.
Brie's gone.
She's got more personality. She's not such a bitch that Rogue can steal her powers.
That's the only reason I want them to keep Carol Danvers in the MCU, because I want them to eventually introduce Rogue and then have her drain Carol and knock her on her ass, and now Rogue can fly. Because that's one thing she couldn't do in the Fox X-Men movie. She did not have Captain Marvel's powers.
They fly now?
They fly now. The X-Men, they fly now.
Redheads should be able to fly now. That would be fun.
But she's a Southern woman. Well, she's stealing her power from another white woman, so I guess that's okay.
Yes, that's fine.
She's appropriating her powers.
That's right.
All right, we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
We got a lot of videos coming in the next 2 days, guys, so make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, or go to clownfishtv.com, and you can hit the little bell there, too, to make sure you get everything. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.